Dude, I've been hit in the head so many times. My short-term memory is I started coaching cardio kickboxing recently, and I have to teach very specific striking combos. I'll look at the list of what I need to teach next. Like, okay, got it. I turn around and I look at the class and I'm like, and I got to look at it again.
That's me. That's me. That's why I can't act for shit.
Yeah.
Like the photographer, they would say, stay in this pose, don't do this. And then here I am, like, out of the pose and doing exactly what he said not to do. And I'm like, why can't I listen? Why can't I listen? Why can't I follow instructions?
Same.
Simple. I would have to be like Marilyn Monroe, where they like feed the line and then they cut and then they feed a new line.
Oh, is that what they had to do with her?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I'm going to have to check that out. That's hilarious. I've gone to do table reads for things. I was trying to get into acting, and they're like, okay, now try to do it without looking at the script. And I'm like, it's like, yo, I don't have that kind of memory.
You need the teleprompter.
So I gave up on that dream a long time ago.
I know.
Because I see some of these actors now, and they can deliver entire monologues in character with no pauses, without breaking. And I'm just like, damn. I listen to a lot of comedy podcasts, right? And they're always shitting on actors. They're like, oh, that's not art. They're just playing pretend. They're just reading a script or whatever. I'm like, nah, bro. That shit is a lot harder than what it looks like, because I've tried doing it a bunch of times, and right now I'm trying to get back into doing voice acting. Voice acting, for me, that kind of stuff's a lot easier because I'm just reading. I can read in one of my voices and then I can edit it, and then it's cool. It's not a problem. But doing that shit live, I shit kind of hard.
Right.
I give these actors mad props, and I have friends that do theater, and some of them are in movies and shit, and I'm like, how the do you do that? And you can tell that they're actors too, because just talking to them in just normal people conversations, their mind is just operating at a higher level. It's just a higher frequency.
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of these Hollywood people get so fucking weird, and the things that they think are so outlandish. It's just because that being at that level mentally and that higher energy, and they start grouping together, I think it just creates a whole different culture that, looking at it from the outside, we're just like, oh, these people are fucking ridiculous. But I think it's just we're looking at it from a different perspective, and that's why we don't understand it.
Well, the only reason I wanted to get into acting, modeling, whatever, was for money. So if I wasn't getting paid, then that was a problem. And speaking of that, when after my photo shoot, I was having to do some paperwork, and there was another photographer that came in. He's famous, Stephen Wada. And he asked me, he said, "Are you going to sleep with Hefner?" And I was like, "No, I haven't even met him. And besides, he likes blondes." And I was like, "Will I make Playmate?" And he's like, "No, that's not promised. You just, there's no guarantee with that." And I was like, "Well, why would I then?"
Yeah. You know what? My ex-girlfriend used to get mad at me all the time because she was like, I hate your fucking mentality. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she goes, I don't know if it's a California thing or if it's just a stripper thing, but you have this you pay me mentality. You won't do anything unless you're getting paid. My time is valuable. If I'm doing something as a performer, I need to get paid. And I would come across some of these producers who would invite me to come be a part of their video or commercial or something. And I'd be like, yeah, so I'd love to be a part of it. What's going to be the payout on that? And they're just like, well, you're going to get a lot of exposure. And I'd be like, no. I don't do things for exposure. What's the payout on this? If you want me to be a part of this, I need to get paid. And they're like, well, we don't really have it in the budget. And it's like, what's your budget? Who's getting paid what? And they're like, well, we can't really discuss that. And it's like, okay, well, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to work together. And they're just like, oh, that's really unfortunate. We really want to have you be a part of this.
For free?
Nah, man, you got to pay me. And even I got to a point, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I think it hurt me to a degree, but at the same time, it also protected me when I was go-going at the club up in Tahoe. And if I was dancing for a bunch of girls and they weren't tipping me, I'd get up and I'd go to where they were tipping me. And those girls would get mad, and sometimes they'd complain. They're like, hey, how come he's not dancing for us? And then they would ask me, they're like, hey, how come you're not dancing for those girls? And I'm just like, they're not tipping me. And there's like, well, we're not here for the tips. And I'm like, I'm not. Like, I'm not driving 3.5 hours from the Central Valley up to Tahoe to go dance for free. And
Mingle.
it's like, yeah, I'm getting a check for being here, but I rely on that income that I get from tips.
Yeah.
I'm not up here to have a good time. I'm not up here to make friends. I have kids, and this is how I support them. If they're not going to be tipping me, I'm going to go to where they are tipping me. Obviously, the girls who are tipping me got a lot more attention. Once some of the other girls started figuring it out, they're like, oh, we need to go get some cash. And then they would come back and then they would start tipping me. With some girls thought they were too hot to tip me, and then they would get all mad when I'd stop showing them attention. Then they'd start talking hella shit like, you're not that hot, blah, 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 and my boyfriend's hotter than you. And I'm just like, okay, that's fine. He's not here. You're begging for my attention. Let's not get it twisted. And it's so funny. Women just do not take rejection well at all.
Right.
Some of the meanest things that have been said to me and violence on me have been from women getting rejected.
Wow.
It's fucking ridiculous. It's hysterical. I've literally have come home with bloody scratch marks on me and bruises and shit from girls hitting me, getting mad because I wasn't showing them the level of attention that they believed that they deserved. So yeah, it's crazy.
I used to have like random customers. They would get like really close to you and then just like bite your tit real hard.
Oh, girl, my right nipple's broken because of that. It's always hard for some reason, aggressively hard.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I had this girl chomp down on my nipple and she wouldn't let go.
Like, that's worthy of calling the police.
Yeah, the club managers too, and they were like, there's nothing we can do about it.
Like, that's assault.
If a dude did that to one of our girls, they'd be arrested, and they're just like, sorry. I'm just like, damn, that's fucking shitty. At the time, I had a girlfriend, and I'd come home and I'd have scratch marks all over me, bite marks and shit. She'd be like, what the is this? And I'm like, babe, this is a career hazard. Okay? So this has nothing to do with any extracurricular shit. This is just bitches being crazy and attacking me. So it didn't have anything to do with anything else. This is literally just a job hazard, and it happens.
Yeah, see?
It wasn't just me. It was my boy Travis. It was my other boy Chris. Like, it happened to the three of us. It is what it is. I feel kind of bad. Me and Travis used to kind of do this shit to each other all the time. When a girl's being all super violent like that, we'd be like, hey, man, see that girl in the red dress with them big titties? She's tipping hella good. Go get her. Oh, okay. And we go over there, and she'd be like,
You're mean.
I kind of did it to each other, though. But, I mean, it was fun. I love that dude. Travis is the shit. If anybody knows who I'm talking about, Travis Ramos in Reno is one of the fucking coolest guys that I've ever met. And he was super kind to me when he didn't have to be. So, shout out to Travis.
Too bad we can't insert his photo.
Oh, I will. I'll give him a shout. No, he's a fucking celebrity out there. He's a bartender now, but definitely one of the fucking coolest, nicest guys that I've ever come across.
Oh.
Yeah, hella rad, dude.
So what do you think about the photographer asking me if I'm going to sleep with Hef, which basically means he knows what Hef does? Like, everyone knows.
Yeah, it sounds like you walked into a process that was already in place.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And so that was probably one of the tests that they used to see who's going to go
Right.
where. And I think part of the reason why Hugh built this empire is so that way he can have access to these girls whenever he wanted.
And I don't like that.
Looking at some of the previous episodes and even some of the interviews that some of these other girls have done in other podcasts, they say, I wasn't going to do it unless I knew for sure I was going to make Playmate. Some of them did, some of them didn't. But either way, he got his.
Yeah.
I think that particular photographer, because he had already had contracts in place with them, he was a part of the machine. So he was helping to feed that machine. He most definitely got some residual back from that. Girls wanting to get into the industry or wanting to be part of Playboy, and they're like, I'll do anything, like anything. So he'd probably take advantage of that, because even in my career as a dancer, I'd meet girls and I would be like, oh man, she's hella cool. She's really into me and this, and this. And then be like, hey, can you get me an audition? Yeah, probably. And then they'll be like, I'll do anything, and it's like, oh, you're not really